Let me clear my throat. Oh, yes, this is Jim Horan with the Keys Bartender podcast, Florida Keys Bartender podcast. Sometimes I forget that, don't I? My apologies. Episode 279. We're going live right now. Yeah, it's a ballsy move on my part, but I'm going to do it. And this is I'm going to go right ahead and say the title of the show will be Oral Sex is Not the Cause of COVID-19. And we're going to get to that later. This past weekend, since it is called the Florida Keys Bartender, we are having beautiful weather down here. I know a lot of people are going through their own issues with the shutdowns and stay-at-home orders, people opening back up. The Keys are, and you'll hear this multiple times, we still have a checkpoint. We don't have tourists here, but it's businesses are beginning to open up. Today they opened up the state of Florida and in the counties that are opening up regularly. There's several counties that aren't opening up on that schedule because of the high levels of infection. But in Florida Keys, they are opening up. We have hair salons and all those different places, barbershops opening up. And this past weekend, we went down to Marathon, Florida, to Sombrero Beach, and it was a beautiful day. It's a dog-friendly beach. There was no traffic, no tourists, just locals, and it was sunny. And I was going in the water, and most of the locals down here, when the water's temperature 75, 76 degrees, they think it's a bit chilly. And I try to explain to them that's midsummer up where I'm from. And I know places on the West Coast and further north, they're lucky if they hit 70. But it was beautiful. It was sunny. Not too much of a breeze. It's a beautiful sandy beach. Once again, I want to reiterate about the Keys. There are no beaches down here, natural beaches. So we were fortunate. There's a white sand beach in Sombrero. I don't know if they bring that sand or whatever, how it's caused. But most of it, we are a coral island, the Keys, and it's all rock. So it's kind of rough, some of the places you go out to. And whenever you get a chance to go to a beautiful beach, you take it down here. But we are coming out. And I'm dedicating this episode to Ketchikan, Alaska. It's kind of like the Key West of Alaska. It's in the far southeastern corner, the peninsula that comes down along British Columbia, I think that is. And it's a town of about 8,200 people. It's also a place where all the cruise ships come in. And unfortunately, I read a couple notes that there was Carnival and Cunard cruise lines have canceled their 2020 season, which is starting July 1st. So I don't know what that means for the rest of the year. But if it's Ketchikan is anything like the Keys, it looks like a town. They got totem poles and they got these kayaking. You go through these beautiful fjords and mountains surrounding it, and a quaint little town. And I guess back in the 1950s, there were brothels there or stuff. It was like Deadwood. I guess kind of like a Yukon territory a place where you had fishermen come in, and I don't know if there were miners and fur trappers and shit like that. But Ketchikan, Alaska, I'm going to reach out to them. Maybe they'd make a good twin city for Key Largo. I did reach out to Tijuana and hoping to get a sponsorship from the Hong Kong Gentlemen's Club there, the local strip club. It looks very, very nice. But we'll see what happens there. So shout out to Ketchikan, Alaska. I guess it's around right now, since we're going live, it's probably around 1 o'clock. Or is it 1 o'clock right now? 10 of 1? If it's, depends on what time it is over there. Alaska starts getting screwed up from West Coast time. I know you guys go further out. So the way we are right now, we are winding down our shutdowns, but it still would be an excellent time. We don't have tourists coming into town, but if aliens or any of our saviors, like any people like Jesus, Shiva, L. Ron Hubbard, or Xenu, anybody, aliens who would like to invade and bring a cure, or a nice miracle where they just wipe out COVID-19, now would be an excellent time to do that, considering the state of the world's economy. So we just wipe it away. But, here in the United States, we've had some people working on it. We've had Televangelist Jim Baker selling the silver solution. And the silver solution is made with real silver and Bobby's distilled water. And it supposedly cures the coronavirus, HIV, SARS, H1N1, regular flu, and the common cold. And I guess, you could probably get the same amount of silver if you just took one of those old-time 1950s quarters and just sucked on it for about a half hour. If that cured it, I don't know where Baker gets his thing from. It says it is lab tested. So there you got it. But there are lawsuits against that one. And then we have the televangelist Kenneth Copeland, who through prayer just decided to blow away the COVID-19 with the divine wind of God. So, and he did that, I think he did that in the beginning of March or mid-March. And, it really didn't do that well, I guess. And then, this is the topper. It's a great one. And you may have heard this one. Pat Robertson. Oh my God. He is the best. He is the very best. So this is his line verbatim. Some of these youngins are doing all kinds of unnatural things with their sex organs. When people do that, they transfer all kinds of chemicals from ladies' private parts. And that's where I think the virus came from. We never had this thing when I was coming up. That's not true, Pat. There was Spanish influenza and the Hong Kong flu. Okay, so we never had this when I was coming up, which instead of when I was growing up, but he says coming up. And his last sentence was, but no one was committing oral sex back then. Really? Okay, well, for the last million years of human evolution, you're telling me, Pat Robertson, or for your people, I know you million years, or 1.5 million years, you think it's 6,000 years, so just humans just popped into existence. So let's say, and put it in terms you understand, for the last 6,000 years, a man and a woman, or man on man, or woman on man, or man on chicken, women and donkey, they never done anything. They never went south of the border, taken one on the chin, hit below the belt, contemplated the number 69, went down on each other. Now, what I did is I researched a lot of words. So these are the words that came up, and I have probably, I don't know if there's 80 different phrases here, but there's a lot more. And that's only in the English language, and they're the only ones I found right now. So I imagine there's thousands upon thousands of words. I hardly think, if you think of the Hindu book that they have for this, it's a book of sex, whatever, stuff like that. The Kama Sutra. That's way behind your birth, okay? So they have that. They have pictures of that, Pat. And I'm sure there were some cave drawings on it. Not just a man with a gazelle. It was a man with a woman. There's probably Egyptian hieroglyphs, Babylonian text, Dead Sea Scrolls, maybe something in the original text, the unedited versions of the Old Testament. But let's go. I'm going to go through the list now. So hang on. This is going to take a little while. We have cunnilingus, analingus, fellatio, blowjob. ATM, which stands for ass to mouth. Third base, first, second, third base. So BJ, beej, B-E-E-G, blowjob, blowy, blumpkin, blumpy, bob, bobhead. Clean the kitchen. Some of these are phrases, so really good. Chicken head, that's like a head. Dining at the Y, which is the juncture of where the vagina is. Dropping knowledge, that's when you drop knowledge. Earning your red wings, that's a unique act. I mean, if you know what it is, I don't have to describe it to people listening. Eat a fur burger, eat a peach. Fur pie, eat out, eat some clams, get one's chew on. Oh, I like that one. That was a nice one. Give face, go downtown, have a box lunch. There's a lot of symbolism right there. Head bang, Hoover. Some of these are oral sex with men, some with women. But just so you know, he said the oral sex wasn't going on when he was a kid. Hummer, muff dive, carpet munch. Rusty trombone, that's a unique act. That's when I think it's, where you're symbolizing the trombone because you're working the front of some guy while you're blowing into his asshole. Slob knob, slurp the gherkin, toss one salad tossing. A lot of people don't even know. Lip service, mustache ride. Oh, this is where we got some nice imagery. Cambodian yum yum. Licky licky, Turkish delight, fire dome, licking out, top off, blowski, lay down lick, DeFranco. Now, that's DeFranco. I don't know what that means. But 3-car garage, that's an interesting one. Mouth Congress, Irrumatio, I don't know. Coition, jelly bead, new old fashioned. I like that one. Dirty Russian, dental dam, road domes, honking on Bobo, Australian kiss, muck the barn, jaw, swing low. Not to be confused with swing low, sweet chariot, but that probably goes. Bush diving. Lumberjack Grand Slam. That's a nice one. A wake-up call. Tongue lashing. Muppet necking. Head doctor. Schwab. Arkansas pork roll. Snorkeling. FaceTime downstairs. Wow. French her trench. Nerm. Rusty anchor. Mongolian slurpee. That's, wow. G6, chewing the choach, whipping the furs, Alabama crabapple, bowhawk, snicker licker, blow my booty hole, lick the envelope, deep sea diving, the old lickaroo, 6911, 6911. I like that one. Going in for the 6911. Dirty dining, eat my cookie, and fellation ship. So that's just a little, these are over years. These are things they were talking about back in when you were a baby, Pat. So, yeah, and it's been going on for a long time. They were talking, I'm sure they talked about it in Boccaccio's Decameron and all this medieval literature going back. So, Pat, this isn't something new. Been going on a long time, and it certainly isn't. It could be the cause of many STDs or the spreading of STDs, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and all those things. But COVID-19, I think not. So while I was doing that, because I was doing research on an Urban Dictionary, I found my name, Jim. And the definition of Jim is an individual of any age, but most likely a senior citizen, that is socially awkward in the use of technology and social media. So that's That's me. And we used to do a bit on the Urban Dictionary, hitting all these different ones. There was this Cincinnati bow tie, the Cincinnati switcheroo, which was this is where guys really, this is why we earn our bad reputation. It's these guys came up with Cincinnati switcheroo. It's when someone's having converse with a woman and they decide the lights are out, and in the middle someone stops and all of a sudden another guy comes in and starts in. Well, that's I hate to inform you guys, Cincinnati switcheroo is rape, because the woman didn't consent to have sex with the other person. So, but the one thing I do like here, the new one is Urban Dictionary one is summoning the genie, which I guess that's kind of like polishing the bottle, which would be masturbating. So summoning the genie. There's people just, it's been going on for years. We used to call, when you would get sick after drinking, driving the big white porcelain bus. That's when you have your hands around the steering wheel and calling Ralph on the big white phone. So that's, getting sick in the toilet. So recently I was asked a follow-up question on a comment I made to someone, and it was prior to a podcast. And it reminded me of a question I was talking to a friend, and a little over a year and a half ago, you may recall the story of the Thai soccer team. I think they were 12 to 14 years old, maybe a little younger. They were stuck in a cave, and it was the beginning of rainy season, and the water rose up, and the kids got trapped, and the water filled up the cave, and so their escape was inundated with water. So you can see how that happens. When you climb up into a cave system, they were high enough into the system, but the only way to get out, and it was really deep into it, instead of drilling into the mountain, they used divers. And they got them all out, to give you an end to the story. I'm surprised they haven't made a movie about it already, which would probably in the works. They were probably going to release one soon. So I mentioned to a friend, they said, well, yeah, the soccer team, they were stuck in a cave and they were flooded out. And she said, how'd they wind up in there? Was it a bus accident? A bus accident. And I said, no, I think it was a plane crash, because they got really deep in there. I'm like, what? When I heard that bus accident, you ever seen that movie Austin Powers, when he's doing his mojo dance for the fembots, and the fembots can't process the sexiness of Austin Powers, and he's in his Union Jack bikini briefs with his hairy chest, and they start shaking and her head explodes. That's what I felt like. So this past week, I'm telling somebody, I observed there were higher than normal amount of roadkills, birds, squirrels. There's always a lot of these iguanas, but then there were other things like raccoons and cats and stuff like that. There's a lot of stray cats in there. And I said, yeah, there seems to be a higher than normal. And I thought it was kind of weird because of the traffic was light, but it was right near Route 1. So, and the person says, what do you think it was? You think it was the virus? And I go, oh yeah, the virus. So the animals, so the process, they thought that the animals got sick and decided to come to the side of the road to die instead of dying where they are. Or they decided that they were in so much pain and suffering that they needed to perhaps kill themselves by throwing themselves in front of a car. But that's not what happened. What happened was that these animals, which I don't understand, the birds and all that stuff, they were getting hit by cars. Maybe they're used to more traffic, and with more traffic on the road, they don't even venture to try to get across the road. But now, because there's very little traffic, they're crossing the road regularly, and every so often they're getting hit more because there's more animals trying to cross the road. So, but when it comes to follow-up questions, there's a low bar for that. I'm going to move on from there. But in talking about a low bar, I've been talking to a friend recently, and they were talking about how great the people were in their bar and how fabulous certain people were. But I just remember it's all in the magnitude of where they're judging those people. Do you remember, like, when you were a kid, you played kickball, and there was someone who always would kick the ball really great, and to kick it all over someone's head, they can run the bases and stuff like that. And then we say they were when you were 6, 7 years old, and you say they were the greatest athlete. I remember, and then they get to high school and stuff like that. The person's on the couch all the time, or someone in a assisted living facility, some guy walks over and moves, and everyone's 70, 80 years old, and you need someone to move the TV in the group room, and some young guy walks over and moves the TV, and they'll talk about how strong he is. Or the person in high school who was really good in chemistry class, and you thought, this person's such a genius, they're going to cure something, and all of a sudden, they're the guy that they're a meter reader or something like that in your town. It's the way we judge people is normally against the people that they're surrounded by, and you get that in bars a lot. So you're going to say, this person's such a gentleman. Yeah, well, check out the other gentlemen around there. They're not going to be fit for going to Windsor Castle right away. These aren't that's not the belle of the ball thing. When you say, I told this story the other day about the girl showing a picture to her aunt and her aunt's friend, and they said how beautiful she was going to be, and they're surrounded by 70, 80-year-old ladies and stuff like that. There's a 14-year-old girl, and they say, oh, you're so gorgeous and stuff like that. I'm not saying the girl was a bridge troll, but I'm not saying she was a beauty queen either. So be real careful how you judge people in different groups, especially down here when you're down wherever you are. Your judgment on what a good. I had a discussion with a friend of mine who they believe in preserving your chastity like a fine old jewel that's held in your family for years. And then one day when you get married, you're offering it up to your spouse as a keepsake. And this is something that's going to value. They're going to appreciate it and stuff like that. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not going to go in on how experienced I am, but there's people that are good at intimacy, and there's people that are awkward in intimacy. And there's some people that are downright bad. There's people that get all upset before it happens. All different issues people have in their whole life with intimacy. And to go and save that, and without sampling, it's as if you're going to be deciding to pick your favorite meal without having tasting it. So they're going to give you, you're going to have your choice. Let's say if you're a moderate person, let's say you have 10 choices of meals. And you're going to be able to pick one meal that you're going to have to eat the rest of your life. Would you pick that one meal without tasting the other 9? I think not. So this case, I don't know what they're suggesting. I think their idea is that when God is present in the marriage, or Jesus, or whatever, stuff like that, first of all, that's a threesome. Okay? But that it's going to make it beautiful. Well, how do you know? How do you know if you end up with someone who's a dud? Someone has an issue. A girl could be unresponsive. The guy could be he could be a premature ejaculator, or underinflated, underendowed, or all sorts of things. There's all sorts of talent. And we could tell from that previous thing, what I told you about Pat Robertson, there's not a lot of other choices they're going to give you with how to pleasure the other person. If they don't believe that sex is that important, or pleasure with sex. Sex is only important to certain groups of people when it comes to procreation, not necessarily in the health or the physical health of the marriage. You're really going to have to, you're rolling the dice right there. It's really, like it's a real long shot picking that person. Yeah, the chances, there may be an all right chance that it's going to be all right. But how many times do you go and play, you go up and play a game of baseball and you go up against a pitcher and you swing at a bat. Did you swing at anything before you stepped on the bat? Did you practice at all? Did you try to hit a couple balls out there? Are you going to go up and hit a home run your first try? And, that's it. That is all you're going to have the rest of your life. And I understand that taking away that choice, saying, hey, till death do us part, holding on to each other, unto each other. And here I am a wedding officiant. But I'm not a big believer in that first person that you meet is the person you're going to be with the rest of your life without trying anything else. I mean, good luck going to Baskin Robbins. Do they still have them anymore? I have a favorite ice cream I like. The other day when we were down in Marathon, we were coming up, I fully intended to get chocolate on the way back. I was with, the family, and I'm coming back, and because of social distancing, I went in by myself to order with my daughter, and we're spaced out, and we're getting ice cream for the wife, and she wanted a coffee one, and they mentioned a espresso chip one. And I bought that for her, and then I realized that sounds good for me. Why don't I try it? Wouldn't that be nice to have an option in life? I mean, what kind of gift are you giving someone if you're crappy at sex? You're holding it. You don't know. And how are you going to blossom if you're with a person that doesn't interact when there's no physical connectivity, there's no excitement, there's no passion, it just doesn't go together. Not every key fits every lock. It just doesn't work that way all the time. So what are you going to do when it doesn't? And it can make you believe that, well, I'm just not good at it, obviously, because my husband doesn't have a good time. Or the husband may say, I'm not good at it because my wife is not responsive. That's not necessarily the case. There could be someone else that's responsive to you. So I think there's a whole lot of people out there doing it. And I don't think there's ways you could probably get into it, get better at what you do. But that's part of the relationship. If that's not important to you and that's not going to be the part of it, good luck with that. But that was when that person said that, and I just thought, I would never want to go in there cold, unpracticed, not having tasted any other flavor. So we're going to move on now to mask etiquette. Once again, this reminder, you're wearing masks not for yourself, but for other people, because you may be asymptomatic. Last year at this time, a lot of people, and I'm not saying the people that don't wear masks probably weren't concerned about this either, but there were a lot of people who were concerned at this time about straws killing sea turtles. And there was a big movement to remove those. People were talking about getting rid of turtles, getting rid of straws, and replacing them with paper straws, biodegradable ones, things made of pasta and stuff like that. And there were people bitching and go, oh, why can't I get my straw? I like to drink out my straw. Fuck those sea turtles, right? Well, now those people are having a problem with their mask. And they go showing up. Now think of this. You're working at a pizzeria, right? Or any other place. But you get people that come in, and they got to see you're working a cash register and you're dealing with someone. And every so often there's someone goes, I don't want to wear a mask. It's my body, my choice. It's not, the mask isn't for protecting you. It's for protecting other people. And you're disrespecting the other person. Well, it's all phony. It's a fax. It's a hoax. Bullshit. Okay. Well, think about this. First, the logic for people that believe in logic and science. If you do believe that there is the coronavirus, the COVID-19 out there, and you could spread the infection, you could be asymptomatic. That means you don't show any symptoms, and you could be carrying the virus, and just breathing could pass it on to someone else. So that's a consideration you're supposed to show someone else. Now, here's the math with that. Now you think, well, what are the chances of me doing that? Well, they see a lot more people. You may deal with people up close, 5, 7, 9, 11 people in a day, maybe 20. Now, if you're saying business, obviously, if you're in a business, high contact would be higher. But most people, they don't come in that close to contact. But people working in retail and things like that, they come into contact with a lot more people. And it raises the likelihood they come in contact with someone that's asymptomatic. Why should that person put in a trust that you're clean and uninfected? Your belief is fucked up that it's a hoax, because you know what, people are dying. I'm going to tell you that. And I'll give you this hypothetical. Imagine if you're taken on an ambulance. And let's say it's a special ambulance. There's a cross on the side, but it's a crucifix, not the Red Cross. And you've been picked up by the emergency Jesus squad. And you have had a serious injury. Let's say you were messing around on a bicycle and you were hit by, let's say, a truck carrying parts to a lab, science parts. Okay? Let's say scientific instruments. There you go. That would be kind of a karmic thing, that here you are, don't believe in this stuff, and you were hit by a truck carrying that. That's what happened. And you're really banged up. And you're picked up by the Jesus squad. And instead of taking you to a trauma center, they take you to a prayer center. Because you know what? They believe in the power of prayer. And it doesn't matter what you believe in. That's not the concern. Because they're doing what they believe is the right thing to do. They're going to ignore science and medicine. And they're going to take you to a prayer center and they're going to pray over you and to see how well you do. Well, good fucking luck on that. And that's what you're doing with your bullshit hoax. You know, the same thing when they come out with a vaccine, you're going to say, you know, I know there's videos out there and all this stuff, but, you know, videos are like assholes. Everyone has one. And the scientific community, just like with climate change, 97%, there's going to be a couple people that disagree, but predominantly most people in the science community agree. So why don't you just do us a favor? Just believe, and if you went into a synagogue, just because you don't believe in their faith, you still, sometimes you'd put on a yarmulke in order to show respect for the other people. Show respect for the people that you're going to see. Put on a fucking mask. And if you cause a disturbance and stuff like that, you deserve to go to fucking jail. You're an asshole. Okay. And if you're listening to this, you shouldn't be listening to the show if you don't believe in science. Because I believe in science. And you don't have to, because there's over 1 million podcasts over there right now. I mean, in the next week or so, I think there's going to be 1 million podcasts on iTunes. You'll be able to find one that has all the bullshit you believe in. You know, the flat earth, the Russians are our friends, there's no such thing as global warming, aliens are tracking us right now, the virus is a hoax. You got all this stuff. All this stuff. You got to go and find that group and stick with it, because you're not going to listen to me anyway. So after I came to the notion here after the pandemic, I was thinking maybe that John Taffer could do a new bar rescue show, and they can have so many extra bars because they're going to be closed. And how do we open with 25%? John Taffer, how do we open up if we only have 25% of our people? Well, then we'll start introducing $20 cocktails. There you go. Specialty cocktail. You'll only need to make 50 of these. 50 of these will take care of you in a night. Maybe 100 of them. And sell them at $20 a pop. There you go. You got your overhead. And then you can bring on like epidemiologists. And they can show them about wearing PPE when you go there. Oh, this is, and instead of just worrying about the workers drinking during a job or taking drugs or not properly handling the food, you could talk about how they wear their mask correctly, how they properly greet someone, how they handle someone who doesn't agree with wearing mask. And you can have like different owners come in, they flaunt the social distancing, sitting on people's laps and all that stuff, coughing all over the fucking condiments. I think it would be an awesome show. So I'm going to give that. I mentioned it right now. We have it since it's being podcasted right now. I think that will be. I think I have a right to it. So for now, we're going to close up. We're going to do a couple shows this week. I'm going to have Lee Sharp and Papa Joe coming. We're doing 2 shows tomorrow. A show Wednesday and a show Thursday. And we're going to be looking out for the city. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that Ketchikan, Alaska, we're done with that one over in Northern Europe, who didn't respond. But Tijuana, you're still in the running. And a Hong Kong Gentleman's Room. We do have a place in Key Largo, the Lovers Boutique, which I think I should have saved the list of, but I probably come a list of other sexual terms I could put in there for the Lovers Boutique if they're listening. And they may keep us from coming to their place after they heard all the different references. And if you have a favorite reference you like, mine was the Mongolian Slurpee, and 6911. Quick dial 6911. Well, my name's Jim the Keys Bartender. I'd like to thank you again for listening. Say hi to people in Ketchikan, Alaska. I'd like to say thanks to the people in, let's see, who's been listening? Israel, Romania, the Russian Federation, Ukraine, Lithuania. Oh, you know what? There's Eastern Europeans. Because Poland, of course, Poland. We got a new city in Poland, Krasny, and what was the other town? I forgot the other town. Oh, wait, here. I got it right here. Let's remember. Sorry, guys. I don't want to screw this up. Krasny, where's that town? Oh, I'm so sorry that I forgot the town, but it's near Rzeszów, and I do appreciate that you're listening, and we will be back later on this week. Till then, take goodbye. I'm going to send us out with, if you do go into a place and they ask you to wear a mask, wear a mask, because if you don't, you are... You're an asshole! You're an asshole! That's right, Tina. Thank you very much. And Jim the Keys Bartender is signing off. Have a great day. Bye.